What it do? Welcome back to the KPhonics podcast. Man, this past Saturday, man, fireworks. That boy Errol the True Spence took care of business and beat Lamont Peterson. If you did not see it, man, it was a tremendous fight. Errol Spence kept his composure throughout the whole fight and just dominated Lamont Peterson every round. Lamont Peterson showed that he definitely still has that heart. He showed tremendous will, and he showed that he was willing to die in there before he threw in the towel. Ultimately, Barry Hunter had to stop it because he did not like what he was seeing. So kudos to Lamont Peterson for his heart and his determination, but also I want to thank Barry Hunter for choosing to stop the fight. Errol Spence is on the rise at this particular moment in time, and I don't see him taking a dip anytime soon. He's in his prime right now. He's definitely doing big things and making great noise in the welterweight division. Right now, I consider him the best, even though Keith Thurman does have 2 of the belts. But Errol the True Spence Jr. is showing that, you know, he's on Keith Thurman's heels, man. I mean, Keith Thurman after the fight, you know, going to put a post on Instagram and on Twitter talking about, yeah, young buck, I see you, your time is coming, be patient. And I'm paraphrasing here, but I mean, nobody wants to hear that, man. I mean, individuals have been asking for you to fight him like hell 3 years ago. I mean, hell, when you wanted to fight Floyd basically said you need to fight Errol Spence. I mean, who the hell are you? And Keith Thurman got upset by that by saying, like, you want me to fight a guy who was like 15-0? I mean, Errol Spence been calling out Keith Thurman specifically since he was 15-0, and he been calling out really the whole divisions, I think, since he was 8-0. I mean, he been wanting to step up in competition, but I mean, you know, guys like Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, and Keith Thurman are showing that they still want to use those same politics and try to avoid them. You know, Sean Porter basically saying that he's not ranked in the IBF and that he already had that title, so he doesn't want to go that route. Keith Thurman is basically wanting to fight his mandatory in Sean Porter, and he doesn't want to do a unification. A unification trumps a mandatory. So if he wants to, he can actually pay Sean Porter step aside money if he wanted to, but it doesn't seem like that he's really keen on doing that. He wants to come back, fight Jesse Vargas or whoever he's going to fight, and that's, you know, understandable due to the long layoff and due to him coming off of surgery, mainly because he's coming off of surgery. That, you know, he wants to get in there and just test it out. He doesn't want to go through a war just coming back, and that's understandable. But I mean, his first fight should be a tune-up, and then he should, you know, get it on with Errol Spence. But doesn't seem like he's doing that. He's doing the interviews with the Boxing Voice talking about that, you know, he's okay with being number 2, and that he's okay with being a world champion, and that he's grateful that he has a career in boxing. I mean, to me, it's already like he's conceded on losing to Errol Spence already. So I'm not really too with it. Danny Garcia, I mean, look, the pressure is on him because he doesn't have anywhere else to go. I mean, he already fought Peterson and Matisse, and now he's fighting Rios, but he hasn't fought any of the top welterweights other than Keith Thurman, and he lost to Keith Thurman, and he's not going to get that rematch right away. He doesn't seem too keen to get in there with Sean Porter, but he doesn't have anywhere else to go other than Errol Spence. I mean, Spence just fought, you know, this past weekend. Danny Garcia fights in January, so I don't see why they can't get it on after his fight with Rios. But I mean, he stated in the interview that he would take the Spence fight if he can't get the Keith Thurman fight, and that, you know, seeing is believing. I mean, Danny Garcia has, you know, shown that since he believes that he's faced all these names on paper, that he's the top guy at the welterweight division, and he considers all the other guys on the same level because they haven't fought the guys that he's faced. I mean, that's apples to oranges. I mean, yeah, he has the better names on his resume compared to the other welterweights, but I mean, if you want to say that you're the best, I mean, you got to fight the best, and ultimately you're going to have to fight Spence or Porter sooner or later. You already fought Thurman and you lost. Regardless if you feel as if you won, really don't hold any water because you didn't get the decision. So you're going to have to either get it on or move up to 54 or retire, whatever the case may be. All right, the other fight that was on the card as well was Easter versus Fortuna. Now, I do not believe Robert Easter won that fight. I think Fortuna won that fight. Robert Easter basically was fighting like he was 5'4". The man is 5'11". The man should have used his range and his reach throughout the whole fight. However, he was getting close like he was a guy that was 5'11", and Fortuna was the guy that was. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. He was fighting like he was 5'5", and he was fighting as if Fortuna was 5'11". I mean, the dude did not do anything spectacular. I mean, let Fortuna do whatever he wanted to do. I mean, hell, he looked just like his last fight. If you ask me, you want to look at it that way, you can look at it that way. It was kind of sort of a gifted decision. But, I mean, look, Mikey Garcia can really, like, knock him out, or Jorge Linares will probably knock him out or outbox him. I mean, Lomachenko definitely not going to fight him. He's too damn small. But if Bob Arum, wanted to put him in there, he could look at that and be like, well, Lomachenko could probably create angles and probably, just outbox him. But, I mean, Robert Easter needs to learn from his last two performances, and he definitely needs to improve on that, because it's going to get to a point to where he's not going to be getting too many of these decisions, or he's going to get knocked out. So I don't want that to happen to him in either case. But I mean, if he doesn't shape up, he's definitely going to either be on the other end of a not so good decision, or he's going to get knocked out. So it's whatever the case may be. But I mean, there's always room for improvement. He definitely can improve on that notion. But man, get back into Errol Spence, man. I don't know who he's going to fight next if these guys aren't willing to get in there with him. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, he stated that he's willing to move up to 54 for a title shot, and he's obviously been asked the questions about Canelo. I could see him moving up to 160, but not right now. I don't see, those two, crossing paths anytime soon, if they ever will cross paths. I believe Jamal Charlo will probably cross paths with Canelo before Errol Spence. At least that's how it should be. But, you never know. I mean, hell, it's boxing. I mean, shit, it's corruption everywhere in boxing. And, a lot of shit that happens and it doesn't make sense. So, if he was to fight Canelo, Canelo, is a little bit more proven. He has the better resume inside and outside of boxing. He rehydrates at a higher weight than Errol Spence, but I think that Errol Spence definitely could take it to him and could potentially beat him. I mean, hell, he spars with Jamal Charlo, and he fights, he spars with, he spars with cruiserweights, light heavyweights, and heavyweights. I mean, it might be different with headgear and 16-ounce gloves, but I mean, look, he has the heart, the will, and the determination, and he believes in his skill set, and he's very confident, and I feel as if that he can pull it off, but that's, kind of like a fantasy matchup at this particular point. He wants to unify the welterweight division and become the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. The only person that seems keen to fight him is Terrence Crawford. Hell, if you really want to be honest, I think Jeff Horn will fight Errol Spence. But I mean, the other three welterweights in Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, and Keith Thurman, they show that they don't want that smoke. They obviously keep thinking that it's only those three in the welterweight division, and Errol Spence is still a prospect, and they're completely fucking delusional if they think that, that's still going on, but it's not. Okay, Errol Spence is on their damn heels, and they better get their goddamn act together. I mean, quick, fast, and a hurry. They better get their goddamn act together. Peace and love, man. I hope everybody enjoyed the fight. I hope everybody tunes in to Danny Garcia versus Brandon Rios next month in February. Unfortunately, we will not be getting Mikey Garcia fight due to Lipinets, injuring his hand. And that's also something else, man. Like, I know everybody has been saying like that's a cherry pick going bad. I mean, but I don't want to look at it that way. However, I do look at it as karma. I mean, he had an opportunity to fight Omar Figueroa and Robert Easter. I mean, he didn't want to fight Omar Figueroa because he couldn't out of fear that he couldn't make weight. And he didn't want to fight Robert Easter due to the fact that that might be his most difficult fight in terms of height and reach. However, he later came out in an interview with Ellie Setback stating that, Omar Figueroa and Robert Easter, they wanted a lot of money. And I guess it couldn't fit within the budget in terms of what Mikey Garcia wanted versus what they wanted. So his idea was, if they all wanted to fight at $250,000 and Mikey Garcia gets his guaranteed price, then he would love to do it. However, he chose a guy that was a little bit cheaper, and he chose a guy that was less risk compared out of Omar Figueroa and Robert Easter Jr. Hell, but now looking at Robert Easter Jr.'s performance this past Saturday, Mikey probably like, damn, man, I should have picked Robert Easter if it was going to be that easy. But I mean, you know, that's neither here nor there. We won't get that fight until March. So hopefully the fight happens in March. You just never know, man, because, you know, Lipinet's hand, man, it looks so damn swole, man. I don't even know it looked like a damn spider bit him, and that bitch just swole up from the poison the way his hand looked. So hopefully, you know, he gets a, you know, great recovery, and hopefully we get to see that fight. 2018 is booming, man. So I hope the sport of boxing continues to showcase great fights, and I hope that they don't show any sign of decline. I mean, 2018 has already started off well. We already got a stoppage with Errol Spence stopping Peterson. A lopsided decision, an unfair one at that, with Robert Easter's win. Next month we got Brandon Rios versus Danny Garcia. Then hopefully in March we get that Mikey Garcia versus Lipinet. So sport of boxing is doing well, man. So peace and love. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode. I'm out. 1.